What's up, guys? This is Big D, and I am the Grim Rider. Welcome back once again for another edition of Road Stories. I know it's been a while since I've done one of these, and I've had a story I've been wanting to share with you guys for a while. I just haven't had the opportunity to do it, but now I got that opportunity, and I'm going to share it with all of you. Now, you've seen the thumbnail, you've seen the title, you've clicked on it, you began watching this, so you know that this story is about my first time riding over the Mackinac Bridge. But a little bit of backstory before we actually get into that. For those that don't know, there are two different peninsulas of Michigan, and they are connected by the Mackinac Bridge. Mackinac City is the town or city that you, or the last one that you go through before you hit the bridge and go into the Upper Peninsula, where then you go and enter St. Ignace. Hence why it's called the Mackinac Bridge. It's a giant suspension bridge. I don't believe it's as big as the Golden Gate Bridge, but it is a very large suspension bridge. And I think a lot of people, even ones that live in the southern part of the lower peninsula of Michigan, such as myself, or a lot of other people in the country, I don't think they realize just how beautiful Michigan is. I know a lot of people think about the automotive industry, or just, Detroit and Lansing and, maybe, U of M football, the Wolverines, but there's a lot more to Michigan than that. That's only just a couple little minute things. When you actually get to a certain point, north of even Lansing, Michigan really starts to become very, very beautiful. And so this story takes us back to July of 2013. And I've told a road story on here once before about riding over 1,000 miles on a damaged tire. This is that exact same trip. So, at that time, myself and a couple other members of the club, there were only three of us. There was myself and two others. We had decided to come up with a little trip. We wanted to go ride up north. I don't believe, maybe one of them has, but at least two of the three, that includes myself, we had never rode our motorcycles that far north before. I had been up north many, many times. My grandfather has a cabin somewhere up there. I forget exactly which town right off the top of my head. But as kids, my folks would take myself and my brother, and we'd head up north all the time. And we'd even cross the bridge many times as kids. And they would take us up over the bridge, and we'd think that was so cool. And we'd go to Sault Ste. Marie, where we'd see the Sioux Locks. And the Sioux Locks are they connect one part of the Great Lakes to another, and the water levels are different. So you'd see big freighters go in and out of there, and they would raise, the boats up and down depending on what level it was. And seeing that as, little kids, that's so cool, seeing these giant boats, like that going up and down in these locks. And so we'd been over the bridge many times, but I had never been over the bridge on a motorcycle before, and we decided that not only were we going to go north, but we were going to do this as like a 3-day trip, I believe it was. The first day, we were just going to head up. We were going to stay in Mackinac City. The next day, we'll go over the bridge, and we'll go to the Sioux Locks, and we'll go to Quamanon Falls, and I believe we went to Whitefish Point that year. And then the third day, we would ride back home. Well, the day comes, and we pack up the bikes, and we hit the road. There's 4 of us in total. There's 3 motorcycles, because one guy had his daughter with him. So there were 4 of us in total. And so we hit the road, we're on the freeway, and we're just cruising, right? If I recall correctly, it was a pretty nice day. It wasn't overly hot, and there was no chance of rain or anything that I remember. But where this story starts to take a little bit of a turn was when we get just a few miles from Mackinac City. We weren't planning on crossing the bridge the first day, mind you. Our plan was to get to Mackinac City, and I think we even were going to take the ferry over to Mackinac Island on that first day, which I believe we did. I believe that was the plan, but we weren't planning on crossing the bridge yet. So we get just a couple miles away from Mackinac City, we can see the bridge in the distance, but we can also see is the sky turned black. And we're like, oh boy, there's a storm coming, and it's coming fast. And it snuck up on us very quick. And so we're like, we only got a couple more miles to the hotel. Just, don't downpour on us between here and there. And we had got lucky. We had timed it just perfect, where the moment we rolled into the parking lot of the hotel, and we got right underneath the awning of the front door, the sky just opened up. So we got very lucky. And so I think that only lasted a very short time, because again, I remember we went over and we took the ferry over to Mackinac Island. We hung out over there for a while. But anyways, that was really cool. If you've never been to Mackinac Island, that's kind of cool in itself. So anyways, we went back to the hotel that night, and so the next day, we get up and we're like, okay, let's go get us some breakfast. So we found this little restaurant, and we're sitting down. And as I recall, there was a TV there, and the news was on. And we had come to find out that as we were approaching Mackinac City and that storm came through, the wind had got really bad. And evidently, the wind had caught a full 18-wheeler semi that was crossing the bridge and blew it over, and it had leaned up against the cables. That's the only reason, basically, that it didn't blow over the side of the bridge. And I remember we had saw that, and we kind of looked at each other, and we said, are we sure we want to take these bikes over this bridge? If semis are about being blown over the side like that? And we had discussed it for a minute and said, you know what, we'd come this far, so we might as well, hit the bridge and go over. It's going to be a nice day today. There was no other storms in the forecast or nothing. But that kind of got us a little case of the jitters, so if we actually want to cross this bridge or not on the bike. So anyways, we finished up breakfast and we're getting ready to go over the bridge. And again, I'd been over the bridge several times in a car as a kid. And but when you go over this bridge, I don't want to use the word intimidating, but going over the bridge in the car compared to a motorcycle is a completely different experience. And this first time, and every time since then, it has never failed. And I've been over the bridge several times now on the bike, but this first time and every time since, we'd have to go over the bridge, but there's two paved lanes and there's two lanes that are just a metal grating. Well, the paved lanes were under construction, so we couldn't ride on that. We literally had to ride on the grating. And that wasn't cool, at least this first time, because the tires on your motorcycle want to find the grooves in this grate. And so you kind of have your bike doing one of these, the whole time over the bridge. And I believe it's a couple miles, that you're having to deal with this. And in the car, you don't realize the massive scale of how big this bridge is. So as we're going over, not only do you see, just a beautiful sight around you, but you see off in the distance, you see the Upper Peninsula, St. Ignace. And if you're going south, you obviously see Mackinac City in the distance. But as we're riding, I'm having to try to keep my balance on the bike because of the grates and the tires trying to find the grooves in those grates. But I also look up and I see how tall those towers actually are. And in a car, I don't think that you notice that. I mean, you see the towers, but I don't think you realize when you look up on a motorcycle, like, oh my God, that is tall. Those are huge. And as we were riding, I thought to myself, I wonder what it looks like underneath this bike, you know, what it would look like to look down through the grates. And obviously in a car, you can't look down and see that. And so as I had that thought, I also wasn't thinking, and I decided to look down. And buddy, let me tell you, I'm like, oh my God, that is a long way down. That is a long way down. And I'm not a huge fan of heights, never have been. But when you look down, when you're on a bike through those grades and all you see is nothing but the water, that freaked me out a bit. And so it probably looked exactly like this. I'm like, hey, you know, I wonder, oh my God. And now I'm laser focused dead in front of me. I don't even know if I was part way over the bridge, maybe not even halfway when I decided to look down, but for the rest of that ride over the bridge, tunnel vision. I could not see anything else for the rest of that ride over the bridge, because that freaked me out. Luckily, over the years, I've loosened up a little bit, and riding over the bridge, now it doesn't really bother me at all. As a matter of fact, it's a lot of fun, and I very thoroughly enjoy it. And I also had, several years ago, the opportunity to do the Labor Day walk across the bridge. It's something that they do every single year, and I'll probably put some footage to try to further my visuals of this story, and some of that visual probably will be from that walk over the bridge. But riding over the Mackinac Bridge, if you are a Michigander or even in Ohio or Indiana, and it's something that you have never done, take the opportunity to go up there and ride over the Mackinac Bridge, because that whole area is beautiful. Mackinac City is nice. Riding over the bridge, that visual is gorgeous. You get into St. Ignace, that's a nice little town. It's a nice little area. But the Mackinac Bridge, the best way I've been able to explain it to people, it's almost like a gateway to almost a whole nother world. It's still a part of Michigan, but the southern part of Michigan, the Lower Peninsula, looks nothing like that. So you get over that bridge and you start taking some of them 2-lane highways, and there's a couple that takes you right along, I believe it's Lake Michigan on that side. And it's just a gorgeous ride. And then you go up there and you can go to Munising and take the Picture Rock boat tour, and you can go to Copper Harbor through the Porcupine Mountains. It's just gorgeous up there. And it starts by riding over the Mackinac Bridge. But the first time I did it, not only did I look down, I saw through the grades, I saw the water, the towers, how huge they were. And the day before, a truck nearly blew off the side that got me a little worried. But other than that, once I got over it that first time, it was just a great experience overall ever since. So, that's the end of my story. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, hit the like button. If you haven't done it already, I'm not sure what you're waiting on. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell to make sure that you don't miss out on anything in the future. Become part of the Grim Crew. Join us for my rides, my Shattered Glass Saloon segments, my moto vlogs. Join me for more road stories. Join me for all of that stuff. And with that being said, I am Big D. I am the Grim Rider. And until next time, we'll catch you down the road.